Hey everyone, this is Shankaraj Subramanian here. I'm glad to get connected with you all at B-Sides Maharashtra. Hope you all are having a good time, enjoying the events and the talks. And the topic which we are going to see today is red teaming. And we'll start with today's topic. So we have different types of teaming within corporates, which you call it as red team. We give different types of color coding for these teams. We have blue team, and you also have purple team. So first, let's see what is this team, what is the job responsibilities of this team, what do they do, and what how do they operate, what strategies they follow, and what methodologies they use, and a lot of other things here, right? So red team, to start with, yes, red team is offensive, whereas when you look at blue team is going to be defensive. What do you mean by offensive and defensive? Red team is like people, they play the role of attackers. It doesn't mean that they are going to attack and bring down the entire system. For your understanding, all these teams are inside a corporate network. These are different people. These are different people with security experience, being employed for a particular company, but their job responsibilities will be different. A red team, they'll behave as if uh, they are playing the role of attackers and try to exploit the system, network infrastructure, and applications and a lot of other things, and they try to identify the flaws. And if you ask me, are these red teams and pen testers, do they share a similar job profile? Yes, to some extent, but when you look at closely, yes, the job responsibilities varies between red team and pen testers. I'll let you know where these gets changed. And when you look at red team, they mainly focus on testing the effectiveness of the security protocols which is used. So whatever security protocols is used, yes, a red team is going to test the effectiveness of these security protocols. Fine. It focuses, the red team, they focus more on the objective of the attack rather than the method used. They are free to use whatever method they want, but the main objective is the attack, rather than what type of method is being used. Whereas when you look at blue team, as I told, they are defensive and they play a role of defenders. Right? They provide solutions to whatever types of attack is happening. They try to mitigate with a lot of security protocols and strategies, and they are the internal security team who are defending against all real-time attacks. And meanwhile, we also have purple team. Purple team, they are intermediary resources. They are intermediary resources between red and blue team. Intermediary resources between red and blue team. They try to fill in the gap. They make sure the issues which are identified by a red team is communicated well enough to the blue team for initiating mitigation techniques. Fine. And yes, we also have a lot of other teams here. We have, to explain that in detail, we will look at a pyramid which is called as bad pyramid. Bad pyramid, which was proposed by April Wright, and she introduced a lot of different colors as well. And in a black hat talk called "Orange is the New Purple," and she introduced a new terminology called orange, yellow, and a lot of different things we'll look at here. So when you look at this pyramid here, fine, we have this pyramid here, and yes, we have our red team, which is here. We have our red team, we have our blue team who are defending, perfect, and purple team. They are going to be filling in the gap between these two, red and blue. Perfect. Now we have one more team which is yellow. Fine. And to categorize this, yellow is the developers who develop, say for example, a web application, and these, yes, they are attackers and they are defenders. They're going to, blue team is going to identify the flaws. And we also have orange, which in which the builder, the developer, they take inputs from the attacker, and based on that inputs, the way with which an attack is organized and the attack is being executed, based on those inputs from the red team, developers are going to develop secure products. They are going to develop secure softwares. Whereas green here, again, the builder changes based on defender's knowledge. Yes, the defender is also going to give a lot of inputs from his side. Inputs from this red team and input from blue team, that is going to help a developer. So developer here, as we all know, he should have both offensive knowledge, and also he needs to have a defensive knowledge, so that whatever he is going to develop, yes, he needs to know what types of attacks can happen, and he also needs to know what mitigation techniques has to be employed. And one more misconception about red team versus pen testing. We have red team versus pen testers. What is the key difference between these two people? Okay, when you're looking at pen testers, they concentrate more on the method of attack, what type of attack they are going to perform. Fine. And they use pen testing methodologies like, say, for example, they use PTES, which is penetration testing execution standard. They use a lot of standards like this. They use OWASP testing guide, and they can also use NIST based on the client preference. They use methodologies like this. They use standards like this, which helps them in identifying the flaw. Whereas when you look at red team, these assessments, the assessments which are made by the red team are more targeted. They are more targeted than pen testers, and the scope of the things which they are going to do is huge, because considering the entire environment within the scope is going to be very high, and usually the time frame is going to be longer than a pen testing assignment. And this red team is going to focus on 3 different categories. One is the people. The red team focuses on people, it focuses on process, and it focuses on technology. It considers these 3 factors, and the key thing which a red team tries to achieve is it aims at how well the above factors like the people, process, and technology can withstand a cyber attack. Fine. So that is the main objective, or that is the main aim of a red team. Now, looking at the phases, what type of phases do you have? Phases of red teaming. What type of phases do you have? Yes, as usual, you have reconnaissance, you have weaponization, you have delivery, you have exploitation, and you have command and control, and then you have escalate, privilege escalation. Fine. So we do have a lot of different things like this. When it comes to reconnaissance, yes, you all know reconnaissance means it is gathering of information. It is knowing more about your target, and most commonly the tools which are used, it's like they can use sniper, which is an automated recon scanner. You can use, you have n number of tools, but to name a few, yes, we can be using this Aquatone, which is a set of tools for performing reconnaissance on domain names. You can go for MetaGuffil Again, this is a tool to extract metadata of public documents from websites. And Multigo, which is a very common tool, which is used for reconnaissance, which is used for forensics, which is used for a lot of different purposes. Now, coming to weaponization. What is weaponization? You are just preparing yourself for the attack specific to the target. Right? We are preparing ourselves for the attack specific to the target. What do you mean by specific to the target? It can include stages like this. Say, for example, you can create custom malicious payload, which can come under this, or you can also go for configuring hardware Trojan or a rat, can be that, or you can include any other social engineering techniques which is going to help you with performing the attack. And yes, when you look at the tools can be of this. We can be using Lucky Strike, and for your understanding, we have different categories of tool, we have different classification of tool, and based on the purpose of what we are going to do, we have to choose our tool. So the tools what we are used here, yes, these are a combination of tools which are used for red teaming. And when you look at Lucky Strike, it's a PowerShell based tool to create malicious Office macro documents. So for a particular purpose, we have n number of tools, but based on your purpose, you'll have to choose your tools. We have PowerShell DLL, and which is a tool to bypass software restrictions, right? We have MetaTwin, which is a file resource cloner. What do you mean by a file resource cloner? This can be used for cloning metadata, including digital signature that is extracted from one particular software. Say, for example, we have MetaTwin here. And as you all know, whatever application, say, for example, this is a particular application which is going to perform, this is software which does a particular function. And yes, any software, any application, it has a digital signature, and you create a malicious payload, which is a virus file. And in order to bypass a firewall, or in order to bypass any security device, probably you should be having a digital signature which has to be managed, which has to be genuine. And MetaTwin can help you in achieving things like this. It can clone the exact details. It can clone the metadata, including digital signature, which can be extracted from one file, and it can be injected into another. So for this purpose, we can use this. So red teaming, yes, after you create a payload and you will have to send this payload, you will have to deliver this payload, you will have to bypass a lot of security factors like this and to the server. So in case you wanted to do this, yes, we'll have to use tools like this. And also you can use tools like Check Please. Check Please is used for sandbox evasions and things like that. And delivery, this particular phase, it involves in the active launch of the attack to the target. So probably most commonly used is phishing techniques, which can be used for sending your attacks or executing your attacks. And say for the tools what are being used here, you can be working with Kingfisher, common phishing tools. You can use GoFish. You can use CrutSniper. CrutSniper is a phishing framework which supports capturing of two-factor authentication tokens. Fine. So based on a particular purpose, you're going to choose your tool. That is why I call it as more attack specific. Fine. Rather than the method being used, we'll concentrate more on the attack, and then you will be choosing your tool. And exploitation, yes, this particular phase where it aims at successful bypassing of all restrictions, physical controls, and making the deliverable successfully executed in the target. Say the tools which can be used. Yes, for exploitation, we have a lot of tools. One is just RAI, which is Rapid Attack Infrastructure, which gives red team a perfect infrastructure for executing a lot of different types of exploits. You can use Red Baron, which creates a a specific environment for again red team attacks. And finally, coming to command and control. What do you mean by command and control? Command and control, it aims at ensuring a remote access. Yes, you have given your payload. Your payload is inside the server. You have successfully bypassed. But after that, in case if you have to get remote access to our exploited system, that's like a post exploitation activities. Yes, probably we'll have to go for command and control. The tools being used is, we can go for Metasploit, which is a very common tool being used, Metasploit framework, and you can go for Empire, which has more options for payloads and listeners. You can use that, and escalating privileges, which you can call it as a lateral escalation or lateral movement, wherein you bypass to different levels of permission and you check whether it is working or not, right? So having said this, we'll go on with this particular tool, which is used in command and control, which is called Empire, right? We'll go for this tool, Empire, which you can install in Kali Linux. And Empire is one tool which can be used or which can be downloaded from Empire PowerShell and PowerShell GitHub. Yes, you can go here. You have all these things, and one specific option for Empire is it implements the ability to run PowerShell agents without needing PowerShell.exe. So you don't need PowerShell.exe. Without that, you can run PowerShell agents. That's what we are going to do now. So what we are going to concentrate, the first thing what we'll do is we'll first activate a listener. We'll activate a listener. We'll set up a stager, and then we'll go for linking stager with listener. Right? We'll go for this. So activating a listener. First, we need to have a listener in our system which is going to listen. So we have our Kali Linux here. You have your Kali, and you have Empire running in this. So whatever tools which I have mentioned for red teaming, yes, it has different purpose. It has a specific purpose, and you'll have to make sure whether your objective is met and then go for the tools being used. It is not that you go for a random tool and test if it is working or not. No, not that. Fine, because you are going to be more specific on what you're going to do. So Empire is running in Kali Linux. So what we have to do, we have to go for a listener. Your Kali Linux first need to listen. Listen for what? Listen for active connections. That is the first thing which you are going to do. Second, what you are going to do, you are going to create a stacker. This is your payload. This is a kind of payload which you are going to deliver it to your victim. And yes, delivery takes care of bypassing all these things. And you're going to use a stacker. You create a stacker and send it to your victim machine. This can be a computer, this can be a server, this can be whatever you want. In red teaming, you will be inside the network infrastructure, or you can also simulate that this is from outside. This attack is initiated from out of LAN, and if you are able to bypass all the security measures from here, and if you are able to attack the server and get a reverse connection, right? And third, you're going to link both these. You're going to link your listener and you're going to link your stacker and see what you're going to do. Fine. So we'll go to Kali Linux. Kali, okay. And I have my, I already have Empire installed. You can download that. First, Empire is here, CD Empire, and we'll start Empire here. Empire. So Empire gets loaded. It's quite different from Metasploit, what is being used. I'll tell you how and why. Once if you have configured a listener and once if you have configured the agent, it remains intact, it remains permanent. So you can use it whenever you want. Not like a non-persistent kind of listener and agent when you shut down and it goes off. No, it's going to be permanent, which will be saved in Empire. So first, let's go for listeners and check what listeners are active. It says no listeners currently active. Perfect. Now we have to use listener. So what listener we are going to use? Listener tab, and we get the list of listeners here. And yes, you have a lot of listeners, but to start with, we'll go for HTTP listener. We'll use HTTP, and I'll type HTTP, enter, and now the listener HTTP is used. Now to know more about this particular listener, give info, and it is going to give you more information about this listener. What options does it have, and what category does it come under, and what values are needed, what is needed, what values you have to set, and what you have to do. Yes, and this listener is going to activate a Microsoft IaaS server, a web server of 7.5 version. Now, after this, what you can do, I can execute this. So I'm going to execute this listener, and it says listener successfully started. So what we have achieved now, we have installed Empire in Kali Linux, and you have started the listener. So the listener is actively listening for connections. Now you'll have to go for Stagger, and Stagger here, is going to, okay, first we'll go back. After going back, we'll check for the listeners, whatever is being enabled. Yes, we have a listener which is enabled here. Perfect. Now we'll go for staggers. We'll use this command called use stagger tab, and the list of staggers. Now, based on your target system, here I'm for demonstration, I have a Windows 7 machine which is active. So you can go for any number of Windows based staggers like what you have here. We'll go for launcher underscore bat, which is most commonly used. It's a bat file, and go for Windows launcher underscore bat. Yes, enter. And what does this do? We'll go for info and check what type of information does it have. Yes, listener, true. Okay, you have a lot of things here. Now, what you have to do, you have to link this tagger with the listener what you have created, right? So with something what you have created here is HTTP. The listener, what you have created is HTTP. The name of the listener is HTTP. You can change this name based on your requirement. Now I'm having a Windows computer, so I can name it as Windows listener. That's perfectly fine. That's for your understanding. But here I'm going to leave the name as such, and HTTP, and scroll down. So we'll have to set this listener, the value of this listener to be HTTP. So what I'll do, I'll type set listener and HTTP, enter. So it's set. We'll check this again, info. Yes, I have the value to be set as HTTP. Now I'll go to execute, enter. Yes, and it says it will be stored in temp folder. Perfect. Now when we look at agents, execute agents, okay, fine. We'll go here. We'll go to temp. We have this here. You copy this, you go to desktop. I'll delete the already created one. I'll paste this here, right? So I have a listener here. So we are done with step number 2, that is creating a stagger and linking it with the listener here. So this is done and this is done. And yes, we have linked both of this. Now we'll have to send this to a victim machine here. And what we can do is you can, I have my Windows 7 machine, which is here. So to transfer data from this machine to that machine, yes, I can go for a simple, I can start a simple HTTP server here. I'll say Python yum. It's a simple HTTP server and running on port number 8000, enter. Okay, now to access the file, let me go here, open up Chrome, and the IP address of my Kali Linux is this 0.8, 192.168.0.8. So I go here 192.168.0.8, and you can see the Microsoft IIS server which is running. That's the listener's purpose. Now we'll go for this particular port 8000, and you have this in desktop launcher.bat. Before that, we'll see here. Yes, I'll download this, keep run. So my bat file is currently executed, and after it gets executed, what I have to do, I'll have to go type agents and see what type of agent is this. Yes, we have the agent what we have created is this, and yes, you can also change the name of this, but now I'm going to interact. I'll type interact uw this, the particular agent, enter. Fine, agent is interacting with this. Now you have the option to control the system. You will have the options to control the system. You can go for any type of commands like this. You can go for this. You can you have the complete control of the system, wherein if you give to start with info, sysinfo, yes, whatever you want, if you give yes, it is going to give you. This is Shanky's PC, and it is Windows 7, Microsoft Windows 7 Professional. Fine, you will have the complete control of the system. This is where red teamers identify. They tend to identify the flaws present in your system here or in your server, and they try to come up with different options where you will have to go for the mitigation technique. So whatever you have found here, fine, say for example, you have found a list of flaws or vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities or these bugs have to be passed on to the blue team. Fine, and yes, to make sure all these flaws which has been identified by the red team has been passed on to the blue team. Intermediate, we have this purple team, which is not mandatory. Not all companies will have this purple team, but to make sure for a larger network infrastructure to manage both of this, yes, few companies have purple team whose main job is to make sure to reduce the gap between red and blue team, and these blue team will try to mitigate all these errors, and they'll see if it is sorted out. Fine. Similarly, when we take for some other domain, say when you look at AWS, buckets, fine. Say the target which you are working is with AWS buckets. In AWS, we have Amazon S3 buckets, which is similar to files and folders, or which can be used to store anything. By default, when you create an account, we can create up to 100 buckets for Amazon S3. And now, what is wrong when you have a target domain? Now, when you have a domain like this, where you have to do a simple red teaming functionality, you have Amazon, and you have a company here which has hosted in Amazon's, is using Amazon services, and yes, they have n number of S3 buckets. Now, when you are an internal red team member and you wanted to sort out, or you wanted to find out what possible attacks can happen to this infrastructure, right? And you will have to know that from a statistics, 7% of all S3 buckets, 7% of global S3 buckets have unrestricted public access. Unrestricted public access. And 35%, they are unencrypted. This is for last year, and you can choose the basic methodology is what you're going to do here. Start with enumeration. In enumeration, yes, probably when you're looking for a tool, yes, you can go for DNS Recon, which is from Kali Linux, or you can go for a web-based tool called BuiltWith, which is going to show that the particular target, this is just to confirm this particular target here is using Amazon services. And to find out for searching public S3 buckets, we do have a site which works good for this. We have buckets.greyhatwarfare.com, right? Okay, buckets.greyhatwarfare.com, wherein you can go on with the keywords. Say, for example, in case if I'm looking for a company called Expedia, and Expedia uses Amazon AWS. So in case if you're looking for Expedia, you want to go for a particular keyword called this Expedia, you can give in this keyword search, enter, and yes, you're going to search with a number of S3 buckets which can be open and which points to Expedia. Fine. So this can be one useful site. And yes, to find unsecure S3 buckets, to go on with finding unsecure S3 buckets, you can go for different tools. You have S3 Scanner, which is a script to find unsecure S3 buckets and dump their contents. You can go for S3 Inspector. S3 Inspector is a tool specifically to check the bucket permission, find the folder permission there. And you have AWS Bucket Dump, which is again a tool similar to Subdomain Brute Forcer, but it is specifically for AWS. So you'll have to know that when you go on work with a particular domain, initially the knowledge of that particular domain, say like this, the knowledge of this particular domain, or when you're working with a server, the knowledge of this server as a red teamer, you need to have excellent knowledge of this. Only then as a red teamer, you can try with all possibilities of exploits, and you can try with. And coming to the job opportunities of red teamers, you don't have to see it as a red teaming profile. You will have to see it as a security opening, both for freshers and experienced. And again, for experienced, you will have to look at this. You will need a domain, and you will need an experience in that particular domain. And added to that, you will have to have security knowledge, which needs to be offensive. And when it comes to offensive, yes, you can go for any number of certifications, or you can go for any skill set which you need to acquire. So when you have this, yes, probably you have so much of openings for red teaming. And as a fresher, it is very tough for you guys to cover all the domains. We have web application, we have server security, we have network security, you have website security, you have n number of domains. And as a fresher, it is always good to know about all these domains, fine. And later you will have to choose your area of interest, or in which you have a lot of passion about. So you'll have to choose that particular domain and explore a lot, because the list doesn't end like this. Again, you will have so many domains under one domain. So when you're trying to apply for interviews, especially for security openings like this, try to understand the company here. Try to learn what type of company is this, what they are into. Is it a product-based company, or is it a service-based company? Yes, you see a lot of openings in Naukri Monster. That's perfectly fine. But when you're applying for a job here, right? When you're applying for a job, understand the company. Is it a product-based, or is it a service-based? In case if it's a service-based, what kind of service do they provide? And say, for example, this is a skill set, or this is a service, what they provide, X. And you will also have to match this. You will also have to check this as a fresher, whether the skill set or whether the requirement of the company, whether it matches with your requirement. It is not that you don't know anything about programming, and you know only about servers and network, but this company is truly into means doing a lot of projects with regards to programming and web applications, you apply for this, the chances of you cracking the interview will be very less. So you will have to know your skill set, and you will have to match that, or you will have to see where this type of skill set, where do we have this opening, and you will have to apply for this. And yes, knowing about all these domains is perfectly fine, but offensive knowledge like this is needed. And most probably the certifications, yes, CEH, the basics level certification, that is okay. In case if you are preparing for OSCP, in case if you are preparing for this, you will not have to prepare for interviews, because the preparation for OSCP is so much in depth, in detail, that might help you in cracking interviews as a fresher, right? So I hope I have given some basic information about red teaming and what type of tools they have used. It is practically impossible to show all the tools, and most of the tools are offensive, and it won't be good to use all the tools. Even if I show it here, it is very obvious people are going to use it for a very wrong purpose. Red teaming tools are like that. So use it for a good purpose. Learn all the tools, and update your skill set in your resume. And I wish you all the best for your successful career in security. Fine. Thank you. Thanks a lot.